everybody. Good afternoon and welcome to the Transportation Committee meeting of May 10th, 2017. If we could get some quiet in the room, please. Thank you. Welcome to T Committee, joined by Councilwoman Nuri Martinez. I'm Mike Bond in the chair. Expect Mr. Rue to arrive shortly. We are going to get started. It's a small crowd today, so quick multimodal roll call. Who's been on the train? Who's been on the bus? Who's been on the bike? Who's used bike share? Okay. Well, I should note that May is Bike Month, and Metro Bike Share is offering free bike share passes for the month of May. In celebration of the month, Metro is offering riders the chance to use its bike share program for free for the whole month. Use the promo code BikeMonth17 and sign up for the monthly pass to waive the $20 fee. And with that, I'm going to start with the public comment. I assume all of this is... Yeah. All right, Mr. Herman, you can have 3 minutes total.
How many, sir?
3 total. That's for all the items and general public comment. Use it as you wish.
Well, let's start off this afternoon regarding our sidewalks on item 17. Since it's not important to the city of Los Angeles, we should not have the Olympics due to the concerns of Willits versus Los Angeles and Barden versus Sacramento between the sidewalk and the curb. And then let's go to item 13, the city attorney ordinance during which catering truck remains in violation of time permitted. Yeah, why should these fuckers park at a so-called meter and get no tickets? I'll tell you why, because there's some fucking racist asshole out there not permitting me with my disabled placard to park in a designated area. Then going to item 14 and CD 14 with that dumb bitch Weezer, fat bald fuck, relative to relevant entities to participate in the Metropolitan Transportation Authority Union Station. Well, you know what? I use public transportation. It's the best fucking transportation in the world. That's what gets me here every day. Train, bus, walk, service dog, ruff, ruff, laugh out loud, Pepita. Yeah, see? Even a service dog commutes. And then we go into item 15, SOB Bloomfield. Yeah, the SOB wants to exceed $35 million for the United States Department of Transportation Federal Lands Access Program. Well, no, fuck you. Fuck you, Bloomfield. This is not a sanctuary city, and we have a right to refuse that type of money because the services and programs and activities are being gutted out by the illegal fucking wetbacks that are here illegally. Then going to item 6. Here you go. Peppa Pig Corettes relative to the establishing oversized vehicle. Well, before he talks about oversized, that fat elephant, he shouldn't call people out making noises like he called me out today in general public comment, or whatever hell time it was. So listen here, Peppa Pig. Oversized vehicles should be not restricted, but get a permit to park. Thank you for showing up late, Rue. Right? You should park and not be restricted. Then to close in my last 20 of general public comment, it would be a nice fucking change if people can show up on time to allow the public to be heard while there's a quorum. At this point, there was no quorum, and it's fucked up. You should shelve all these items until there's a quorum. Thank you, Rue, for being late.
Okay, Ms. Autry, you have a total of 3 minutes.
Yes, I wanted to...
And I just want to note for the record that we're closing the acceptance of public comment cards.
Yeah, I also wanted to support what my colleague stated about the tickets. On Skid Row, the poor, primarily black people, are consistently ticketed disproportionately in greater numbers than the wealthier Caucasian, Jewish, or other international demographics that are represented to the west of Broadway. So these people have Social Security, some have GR, and of course they're slated for extermination or for the prison industry or for the genetic industry or for food, for some of you that consider black people to be a delicacy. There are many cannibals and vampires, not just those that are experimenting on us, but literally consuming us because we're an energy source, because we're melanated people. And not to mention the sex slaves that are exploited or created by your overseers and your police and paramilitary.
Excuse me, Mr. Herman, that is your first and last warning. If I hear from you again, you're out.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that there is equanimity so that you are responsible. So that if you're ticketing to the west of Los Angeles, that you ticket using the same standard and procedure for non-melanated or Caucasian people to the west of Broadway. That's it, first and foremost. Then relative to traffic, the parking, the bicycling, I ride a bike, and I have, my lights have been stolen, and I know if I was a white female and I reported it, there would have been some type of justice, or I would have had some type of satisfaction. So as a black woman, they're like, yeah, well, you know, go and let us help you. You need some help servicing? No, not in service. So I need, you know, there to be some type of greater accountability. I know you have surveillance. I'm surveilled. You know, I'm tracked everywhere I go. I'm watched, I'm harassed, attempts to entrap me. So there needs to be some equanimity.
I'm sorry, Ms. Autry. We'll hold your time for just a second. Could the Sergeant of Arms please escort Mr. Herman out of the room?
For what?
For disrupting the meeting.
How?
Oh.
What?
Well, I'd like to speak on his behalf. He's just eating Lay's potato chips.
Your time is now rolling.
Right, so if anything, you know, he spent money, so that's raising more money for you people, which is, that's what your endeavor is, to keep the positive cash flow and raising monies. He wasn't being loud. He didn't call anyone a name. He didn't insult anyone. Exactly. So in making this relevant, again, on the record, I'm defending him because he was quiet. He was not disrupting. He didn't insult anyone. He didn't racially, he didn't insult anyone, use a racial slur. So I'd like that for the record. Again, I know this is a white supremacist city, but again, I need to make sure that you have equanimity. So when I approach the police officers regarding stolen lights, or regarding someone that has vandalized my lock, someone picked my lock, and therefore I had to call the fire department. So there's no record of that on your surveillance cameras that are ever present. But again, I know if I was a blonde white female, there would have been some type of satisfaction, and that part of the video would have been apparent, and it would have been available so that I could discern who robbed me or who
Thank you very much.
Vandalized and destroyed my lock on my
Thank you.
bike. So that's on the record. There's no reason for you to eject him.
Thank you. Your time is up.
That was offensive or that was not in order.
Your time is up, ma'am.
And I don't appreciate you taking a deep breath, okay, because that's rude. Even if you do not agree with what I say, I have a
Ms.
right
Autry,
to make my comment.
if you continue to disrupt the meeting, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the room.
Kind of Southern Confederate look. And I would say just like, fuck you.
Sergeant at Arms, please escort Ms. Autry from the room.
You don't have to touch or escort me out. My own volition. And don't touch me. No servicing required. God will shut down the New World Order. You know this. It's an soldier lost power. No passwords here.
Goodbye.
Now fuck you, bitch.
Bye-bye. Yeah, let's go. Close the door.
Okay. So, colleagues, I'm going to recommend items 1 through 15 on consent, unless anybody wants to call this special.
I just had a quick question on 13.
Okay, so 1 through 12, 14, and 15 on consent. Okay, that brings us to, let me start with item 16.
Item 16 is communication from the Mayor and the City Ethics Commission report relative to the reappointment of Mr. Pomakian to the Board of Taxicab Commissioners for the term ending June 30th, 2022.
Okay, Mr. Pomakian here? Please, come on up. Tough act to follow, I know.
I will do my best to keep my cursing to a minimum.
So you've been on the commission for how many years now?
Since mid-2012.
Okay, and so you're up for reappointment. Tell us what you've learned and what you hope to do in the next term.
Very well. Good afternoon, council members. My name is Mompre Pomakian. I am looking to be reappointed to the Taxicab Commission. This would be my second full term if I'm reappointed. I've been on the commission since approximately, I want to say, July 2012, and over the course of the last 5 years, we've seen some significant developments in this area, especially when it relates to the network carriers like Uber and Lyft and how they've impacted the taxi cab industry in the city. And I feel like we're at the precipice of trying to figure out how to best approach these issues, and certainly with the franchise agreements coming to expiration at the end of this year, I think I would appreciate the opportunity to continue to provide a service to the school, to the city, and help shape the future of the transportation industry as it relates to taxi cabs.
Thank you. Any colleagues, any questions? We have a recommendation to approve? Yes? Seconded? We'll move this on to council with unanimous recommendation. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go to item 17.
Item 17 is an Offeral bond motion relative to amending the municipal code to make it illegal to park any vehicle in the area of the road right-of-way between the sidewalk and the curb that is reserved for trees, landscaping, and utilities not intended for vehicles.
Good afternoon, Chief. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
We have no speaker cards on this. Mr. Nagel, is there anything you'd like to say to sort of summarize and kick us off?
This ordinance will once again bring back the ban from parking in the portion of the parkway that is usually reserved for trees, landscaping, not intended for vehicle use. And obviously it's constricted a little bit by what we have to do, what we're required to do under the California Vehicle Code, certain aspects that we obviously cannot preempt. We can deal with that.
Okay. Chief, anything you want to add?
Yeah, this is about 11 years in the making, bringing it back. We're hopeful that it goes smoothly. We'll be looking to the commission and the council for guidance on a warning process, how much time you'd like to give. But we will give warnings when we re-up the enforcement and give the public the opportunity to realign their parking situation that conforms with the new ordinance.
Yeah, this has been quite a long time in coming. It's been getting a lot of renewed attention recently in the media. The newspapers have been taking photographs covering the considerable blight in certain areas from people turning parkways into parking lots. I know it's been a really hot issue in CD 13 recently, issue of real strong importance to Mr. Offeral. So glad to have it before us today. Colleagues, any questions? No? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
Yes.
So moved and seconded. So took 11 years, but then it was quick once again.
Yeah, I misspoke. It's been since 2011, so it's actually been 7 years.
Okay, well.
Much better.
Yeah.
Much better.
Okay, and that brings us back to item 13, which...
Item 13 is a city attorney report and ordinance relative to establishing and escalating penalties for each 30-minute increment during which a catering truck remains in violation of the time permitted to vend.
Mr. Nagel is here. Do you have any questions?
Sure, yes. I want to make it quick. Just the, The way it's written, it says residential areas only. Is it, does this not apply to commercial areas?
No, it also applies for everything that's contained within that subsection, B2F. So I think it's in regard to whether the escalated penalties also apply.
In commercial areas.
In commercial areas, they do. That's the second paragraph. We weren't asked to change the second paragraph when we drafted the ordinance. So, but the escalated penalties, they clearly state that they apply to everything in the subsection.
Okay, so residential and
Yes.
commercial. Okay, so, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
All right.
I remember this, last time we discussed it in committee. So are these catering trucks that are usually, that they cater to construction workers in those neighborhoods? Is that what we're talking about?
They could be construction workers, they could be other workers in the area.
Right, well, I'm just saying as an example, but these are the type of catering trucks we're talking about, right? The
These
ones
are-
that
yeah,
park
for-
there for an extended
Period
period of
Yeah.
time, and they usually are there because there is a construction project or something going on.
Yeah.
And they're there for that reason. Okay.
Well, in my district, or they just park in commercial spaces, commercial parking
Okay.
spots, and they're like,
So it's all of it?
yeah.
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 Okay, got it.
Okay, so Mr. removes, Ms. Martinez seconds. That objection, that is approved. And that
Wow.
is nothing left on the desk. We're done. We are adjourned.
Great job.